Before I started with Brian Kelly, I even had a hard time getting out of a car because I would be like struggling to hold on to like the handle getting out of a car because I felt like it was hard to get my legs all the way up, and I couldn't think to get out of a car, and it was very hard on me, physically that way, and emotionally. I just felt like people were judging me how I looked, and I didn't feel very good. Didn't have any energy, very sluggish all the time. For me, starting it, making that decision was the hardest thing. Putting the investment and knowing, okay, this is going to be a 30-day commitment to something that was totally foreign. But it was quite a culture shock to get used to the routines every day, eating clean, and completely ignoring the other things that we had been eating and had been doing, and having to make time. Well, one, the accountability calls were really helpful. Knowing every week we were going to be reminded of why we were doing this. Having my accountability partner was huge. And then fitness therapy, listening to that every day, every night, it kept our subconscious, our unconscious mind on the right track. I started noticing that my pants legs were getting a little loose, and that was really encouraging. Like, oh man, that's cool. And then my arms, like the little flab underneath the arm, started going away. I'm like, oh man, that's cool. And then after a while, a couple months in, I was talking to my husband, and I put my hand up to my face, kind of pondering something he had said, and then I was like, I have a cheekbone! Wait, what is this? And so that was just an amazing thing where I'm just like, wow, it's never been that pronounced. Oh gosh, when Tim noticed that my waist was smaller and that the pants legs were loosening and everything, he would come up and he'd give me a hug. He's like, oh hey, I can reach this much farther up my arms now when I give you a hug. It made it real. When he acknowledged that there were physical changes, and especially like the emotional changes, that there were challenges that were coming down toward us, that things that we didn't expect, and then he would say, you know what, you're handling this really well. It meant the world to me, and I felt like, man, I can't imagine if I wouldn't have done this. It meant the world to me. We could not have done it without having the extra energy and the clarity in our minds of what we were doing, what our goals were, and working together. That's a huge thing. We couldn't have done it without Global Fitness Club. So my goal initially when I started the program was to lose weight. And I was just bound and determined. I was about 145 when we started. I was like, I'm going to get down to 125, that around there. And I remember we reframed it, because that's not the healthy way to look at it. It should be inches, because a cubic inch of muscle weighs more than a cubic inch of fat. So as you lose the fat and you gain the muscle, you're not necessarily going to be losing weight, but you're going to be toning down. So I started having goals more relating to inches. And after I had goals about inches, the inches started coming off. Whereas when it was weight, I would get discouraged. And that's what was wrong with the programs I would do before. I definitely believe that I've reached my goals. So Brian's goal is to save the lives of entrepreneurs, and for me, it definitely did. I know a goal for me in the very far future is to be around for my family a very long time, to be able to do things with them and be there for them, and to be have my head clear to be able to interact with them. And so that was a huge thing for me, and I definitely believe that Brian's goals have been achieved with me, because now I have a lifelong habit that is a good habit to have, the habit of fitness, and it's being perpetuated by, I now have the stamina to keep going with it. And then people who know me, who haven't seen me for a while, they see me and they're like, where's the rest of you? What happened? You look great. And that's for me very, very powerful, and it's very encouraging, because I love, when I know that I'm doing a good thing, I keep doing it. And when I hear someone else reaffirm that, it just pushes me even more to do it. And a bonus to doing what I'm doing, knowing that I'm doing this, and then people coming up seeing what I'm doing, and then they say, how do I get involved? I want what you're taking, I want to do what you're doing. So they start modeling that. So it's because of me doing what's good for me and my family, I'm able to influence them and have other people around me come up and say, hey, I want to be part of this. So it's spreading like crazy, which is awesome.
Good, good. And finally, this was a 90-day program.
Yes.
That's a long time.
Yes.
And it wasn't easy. And use that face. How does it feel now to have finished the race, to do all 90 days?
So after 90 days, a long time, gosh, it feels amazing to finish the race, to accomplish that, because 90 days is a long time. It sounds like a lot, and it doesn't at the same time. But it's a long time to be committed to something that's difficult. And is socially accepted as something extraordinarily difficult to do. It's just amazing to come to the end of it and go, we did it. This is awesome. I'm really happy, but this isn't the end though. It's just going to keep going. It's not just 90 days and then Brian Kelly doesn't drop off the face of the earth after 90 days, and I'm certainly not going to stop, so it's going to keep on going. But right now, right here, end of 90 days, feels amazing.